Welcome back to CB Dollaway to the program today. Just got done working out. I want to go back in history a little bit. Obviously, you were on The Ultimate Fighter 7, runner-up on the show. I kind of personally have stopped watching it around season 4, season 5. I did catch your season, though, from the quarters on, just because of I got tired of the antics in the house. Being a former Tough member, do you still watch the series?
No, not really. I came on and accomplished my goal. I wanted to get into the UFC. I wasn't per se a fan of the Ultimate Fighter. I just knew it was like my way in to the UFC. So once I got in, that's what I was focused on is getting into the UFC, competing against the best guys in the world, and working my way, towards a title and trying to accomplish my dream.
That kind of seems like that's pretty much the answer I'm getting from every Tough guy that I talked to, that they're all like, yeah, I really wasn't a fan of the show when I went in. I just knew it was my way to get into the UFC. I wanted to get in. You still talk to a couple of guys from previous shows and from the shows that you're on. Do you get the same sense from them as well, that they're all like, we did it as a necessary means to get us towards a title hunt in the UFC?
Yeah, I mean it's like a stepping stone. You get in there, you do well, you get noticed, you build a fan base, you go in the UFC, and then you're not really watching the show as much. You're looking into the future. You're looking at the guys who are already in the UFC. The guys that are in the top 10, the guys that are the champions. Those are the guys you want to fight. Those are the fights you want to work towards. I don't think personally it's good to try to look behind you. You want to move forward and get those big fights.
And then it's also too that that when you came in from the Ultimate Fighter show, you get into the UFC, you're kind of bottom of the barrel. And then all of a sudden, a couple, 3, 4 fights into it, you're like, look, the next generation of tough guys coming to the bottom of the barrel. I'm mid-level now. Now I'm like you are. You're now in the top 10. That goal that you want to get to be in the top 10, you're there now. Has it been as hard as you thought it was going to be, or a little bit easier than you thought it was going to be to get into the top 10?
Oh, it's been tough. Hasn't been easy. It's been a long road for me, and I have a different story than a lot of people. With injuries and upsets, and it's just trying to be consistent. It's been very tough for me, and I've worked my ass off, and I've made it there, and now now I need to get a couple wins against top 10 competition. I've got to make that next step. And it's kind of now or never. Starting to get a little older, starting to feel the training
Yeah,
camps a little more, and
yeah.
you start looking at that clock.
Nate Marquardt, your next opponent coming up on UFC on Fox 17. Tough opponent, obviously, former King of Pancrase. We all, Nate has had a great career, but also, like you said, he's older, and he's starting to look like, I haven't spoken to him directly, but he looks like he's starting to feel training camps more, and he's starting to slow down a little bit, but still extremely dangerous, and a name that can propel you higher up the rankings. Um, you're a super, super tough competitor. Like from your Colby College days, well, obviously from your high school days in Ohio, you were a super tough competitor, win the state championship. Then at Colby College, then on to Arizona State. Like you're a guy that loves to compete. Do you still wake up every day with these huge challenges in front of you, like a guy like Nate Marquardt, and get like, Aaron, we got to get going right now. I can't wait any longer. We've got to start doing. Ryan, what are we doing today? Like, you still that aggressive like you were back in the Arizona State days?
Yeah, we train a little smarter now, though. It's not you can't do that grind like you were when you were
Yeah.
23, 24. You got to be smarter. You got to make the training sessions count now. You only have so many workouts you can do a week before your body starts breaking down. You got to recover it. But yeah, I have that fire. I wake up. I think it's just something in me. I love to compete. Anything, that's when I'm having fun is when I'm competing, no matter what I do. Like I like to play chess.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's like I don't like to play games of luck, like dice games or something. I
Mhm.
like to play a game where I'm competing. It's skill based, and that's what mixed martial arts brings to me. It's a human chess match. So it's the greatest competition on earth, in my opinion.
You're talking about train camps getting longer, and you're still super competitive. Like you've just explained to us, like you love to compete even when you're not in the practice room. Like you're trying to do something else to compete. How do you get your head out of it? Because train camps are so long, and there's so much crap that goes on during train camp. You could blow yourself up, always trying to compete with yourself and compete with others in the room. What do you do to calm down? To kind of get away from training camps a little bit. For that couple of hours, maybe every day, or that couple hours every night.
One of the things I like doing actually is getting out and hiking. Arizona has so many like great hikes and mountains to go up. And while you're getting out, getting away from everything, getting away from the technology, put your phone down. It doesn't work out there.
Yeah.
You go hike up a mountain, and it's kind of refreshing. Yet you're still getting a little workout in.
Yeah.
But you don't think about it. All you're thinking about is, let's get up this mountain, let's climb up this mountain. I want to see the view from the top. Like recently, I just went up Flatiron Mountain. It's like
Yeah.
a 3 mile hike straight up. Went up there and camped on the top,
Oh.
and I just got away from everything for a little bit, clear your mind, relax, and just kind of decompress and come back down the mountain and get right back after it.
Do you like to camp when you're not in training camp? Do you take off and make a vacation and go camp?
Yeah, just being outdoors and, like I said, putting down the technology for a little bit. Too many of us, myself included,
Yeah.
always have that phone there in your hand, doing social media, scrolling. It's just nice to sometimes put it down, just step out of it for a little bit.
It is tough, especially in our business, because you've got to keep letting the fans know where you're at. You've got to keep letting people know what you're doing to keep increasing that number of. And really, it's like being in high school again because you're trying to get more followers on everything because that means dollars. If you have 1 million followers on Instagram, they're going to pay you a lot more money than you have if you have 10,000 followers on Instagram. So it's a race, it's a battle. The reason why part of the reason why that Dana White gets so much respect and so many people pay attention to him when he speaks because he has so many followers on all of his social media networks, and that's kind of like the he's the premier guy, obviously, in the UFC. He's got the most amount of followers overall than anybody else. Uh, does that sometimes wear into training camps as well, where you're like, man, I haven't been on Facebook in like 3 hours because I was at practice and I had to go to the chiropractor and I just got back home. Like, you sit there and go, crap, I got to spend 20 minutes now on Facebook to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, you just try to do what you can do, but for me personally, I focus on the fighting first.
Yeah,
Because without that, if you're not winning fights,
yeah.
nobody cares how many followers you have on Facebook or Twitter. If you're not winning fights, it doesn't matter. That's your foundation. You
Mm-hmm.
need to go out and win fights. Everything else will come. You can work on building your social media following and appearances and things of that nature. But first and foremost, you got to win fights, and that's going to bring the big paychecks.
Let's break down your fight. Um, Talking about a big paycheck, this could be one of those fights where you could get knocked out of the night and win a bonus. He could get knocked out of the night and win a bonus. You could get submission of the night, or he could get submission of the night. It's one of those fights that you guys are very evenly matched on paper. But if you sit down and watch these fights a little bit more, there's a lot of spacing where you're ahead of him in certain areas. There's a lot of spacing where he's ahead of you in certain areas. Do you feel like that this fight is going to be one of those epic fights on where it's like this my fight is going to be the fight that everyone's going to be paying attention to at the end of the night?
Yeah, usually every time I go in there, as of lately, they turn out to be those kind of fights, where it just turns into a good fight. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
scrambly guy. I like to move a lot. I
Yeah.
can mix it up well. I finally got my, striking to where it needs to be, my submissions and wrestling. Everything's starting to really come together for me now to where I can just mix it up and it's fun to watch. I get a lot of people telling me that now, you're fun to watch. You mix it up on the feet, you take them down, you scramble around on the ground, you're back up. The fights are interesting. And a guy like Nate, he's got a ton of experience, and I'm probably not going to show him anything he's never saw before. So I feel like it's just going to be a lot of transitions and back and forth, and it's just going to be a great fight.
And help me out if I'm wrong, but when I watch film on Nate Marquardt, and if I'm trying to prepare an athlete to get ready to fight him, it's like with Nate Marquardt, you're either all the way out where he can't touch you, this long jab, or you have to be all the way in with your head in his chest. That middle ground, because he's so strong and he's so bulky that his arms are kind of always in hooking motion, like they're always kind of bent a little bit. And that middle ground is where he's most dangerous. That's where he's going to hit you the hardest. That's going to be able to rock you a little bit to all of a sudden get that takedown that no one's expecting because he's got that power on the inside. Are you seeing the same thing when you watch tape on him?
Yeah, I mean, I see some stuff. It's all about the matchup. For me, I
Mm-hmm.
see what I need to do to beat him. I know where I need to be and how I need
Yeah.
to fight him. Other guys match up differently with him. Other guys maybe need to be in his chest. Other guys need to be on the outside more. Without giving my game plan away, I know where I need to
Right.
be. I know what I need to do to win this fight.
All right, last question before we get out of here. A lot of shakeups in wrestling right now at the college level. There's been a lot of number one guys going down, a lot of number two guys going down, a lot of guys unranked beating top ranked guys. Like, it's been crazy, especially this last weekend in Vegas at the Cliff Keenan Invitational. Like, a lot of guys went through, and then Missouri wins the whole thing, and it becomes like all of a sudden now Missouri's like this to be reckoned with. Of course, Ohio State won it last year. Obviously, I know you still spend some time at Arizona State. You get in and wrestle a little bit with the team, so you know a lot of the guys there. But what other guys, besides the guys on Arizona State's team, do you kind of go, wow, that kid's going to be good, or he's like the champ of this year?
Truthfully, this year, at this time, I haven't been watching a lot of wrestling. It's been more focused on my training camp. Mm-hmm. I did hear, a big upset that happened, for Arizona State. One of our top guys, I think Kyle Stauffer is he's ranked like number 2 or something. Mm-hmm. Lost to, I believe, the West Virginia kid out in Vegas. But yeah. I feel like that's one of those things, we talk about the middle of training camp. You get beat down. The guy that shouldn't be beating you is kicking your ass. Yeah. That's how the college wrestling season is. It's like a 3-month training camp, where they're just beating each other up all season. And the end goal is to get ready for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
No one's really going to look back and be like, this guy, won the Cliff Keen Invitational. No one talks about that. It's about, were you an All-American? Were you a national champion? No one's going to remember the guy, he won the Cal State Open. No one's going to talk about that.
Yeah.
So, and that's how these coaches prepare these athletes, So a lot of times you see these upsets happen in the middle of the season. It's not a big deal, it's that final tournament of the year that everybody's focused on. And you got to get in that mentality, doesn't matter what happens here. It's that one tournament. I got to be ready, and I got to learn from, my losses, and maybe I was beat down, and that's just how it is.
And let's be honest, this isn't even in the middle yet. This is still the beginning of training camp. The Invitational is like one of the first big tournaments of the year. So it's like these guys got all the way till March, and unfortunately most wrestlers don't get Thanksgiving or Christmas because there's always something going on those weekends. You gotta compete. So CB, thanks so much. I know you just got done with training camp. It's rest time for you. I appreciate you coming on here and spending some time with us. Good luck in this fight on December 19th against Nate Marquardt. It's gonna be a great fight. For me, this is the fight to watch on the card. I really think this could be a super, super fireworks, or it could be a quick finish. Like you go out there and smack them like real early and put the fight over and just be done. It is one of those fights.
Hopefully that's what happens.
Yeah, of course. All right, brother. Have a great rest of the day, man. We'll talk soon.
Sweet. I appreciate it. Have a good one, Frank.